Hello and welcome back. Today I'm jumping into some science fiction based on some concepts within the Three Body Problem series. I'm going to look at the ideology of escapism, and if you enjoy these types of videos, let me know by liking this one and subscribe to the channel. So let's begin. In book 1 of the series, Earth learns of the arrival of an alien threat. But their technology has been neutered. The Trisolarans are set to wipe out humanity when they arrive. And as the clock ticks, many plans and ideas are put into motion as the centuries come and go. One of the most fascinating ideologies is escapism, and it's the thought that to survive, humans must flee Earth and set out to live somewhere else. But the reason I find it so interesting is because of the greater discussion it leads to among readers. It's a great concept for the author to include because most people fall into the pro or anti-escapism party and feel very strongly about it. But is escapism the answer? Within the series, Earth takes great measures to make sure that leaving Earth is off the table. And at first glance, it may seem counterintuitive to ban escaping. And for readers who are really into space and technology, it seems like the right choice. We humans have been romanticizing space for a very long time. So often, we are curious and like to explore the ideas for a better future. Space represents new frontiers, scientific discovery, and a possibility of securing humanity's survival beyond Earth. And space colonization is often seen as a way to overcome the problems on Earth, like ecological collapse, overpopulation, or a critical lack of resources. We can be idealistic. But author Cixin Liu offers a counter idea and explores some really pragmatic scenarios where fleeing Earth to never return isn't just idealistic, but frankly, really terrifying. In the Remembrance of Earth's Past trilogy, author Liu presents humanity with a dilemma in the form of many different concepts for survival. And as readers go further and further into the series, each of those concepts for survival have a different set of obstacles. But fleeing Earth and escaping the incoming Trisolaran invasion is outlawed. And when thinking about it in terms of human biology, there are many reasons humans might not be ready for long-term space habitation, like the effects of microgravity on the human body and radiation exposure. Another science fiction author, Adrian Tchaikovsky, depicts his surviving spacefaring humans as withering away, inbred and rotting from the inside out. But let's say all the biological issues that stand in the way are solved. In the Remembrance of Earth's Past trilogy, the obstacle are these. How would you decide who can escape and who has to stay on the planet when their death is imminent? Is human society able to handle any course of action rather than forbidding it? Escapism as it's presented in the books is really difficult because it can't be done in a way without society tearing itself apart. High-speed ships and resources aren't infinite, and not everyone can be chosen to live when dealing with limited resources. If there isn't enough time to build up resources and ensure everyone can go, people are going to fight for those spots. Simply put, escapism causes a class conflict. The Trisolarans are coming to wipe out Earth, but if only a select few are able to get access to fly to the stars, the result is an all-out panic. A great example of this is episode 9 of season 5 of the Expanse series, and it explores the same concept. When Earth is almost destroyed, two characters, Amos and Clarissa, attempt to get into orbit by repairing and hijacking a shuttle left behind in a wealthy resort neighborhood. As time progresses, a group of armed men and women come to take the shuttle for themselves in a race to get off-world. People resort to force, and the three-body problem trilogy shares a similar type of outcome. When only a few can escape, everyone will have different opinions on who should go and who should be left behind. Society doesn't take kindly to the idea that only the wealthy have the right to live. It's fair to assume a cascade of consequences is imminent, and the best way to control it is to ban it altogether. And this might seem extremely pessimistic, but it's a clear philosophical problem. But let's say that everyone on Earth comes to a diplomatic solution. Some will stay behind, and some will get the option to leave, and there is no great ravine. In the most optimistic sense, a small group of survivors leave, knowing they can never return. They get further and further from Earth, knowing they will never see it again. Now what? Which leads us to one of the concepts we see in Death's End, which is the psychological effects and how humans take on self-governance when returning to Earth is no longer an option. What we see in the books is those who survive contort themselves and let go of some of our better human qualities. My favorite example of this is when Earth tricks one of those escaped spaceships, Bronze Age, into returning to Earth and immediately arrests everyone on board when it lands. We learn that when those aboard knew for certain they would never return, they started to gather food resources in a terrifying way, pillaging the dead bodies of the destroyed fleet for nutrients. Because one of the terrifying concepts of fleeing quickly means not having enough resources to feed everyone forever. In his trial, one of the commanders of that ship explains the survivors' decision to resort to cannibalism, and he says, "When humans are lost in space, it takes only 5 minutes to reach totalitarianism." Author Cixin Liu takes the story somewhere that I previously hadn't given much thought to, which is how quickly being cut off from Mother Earth could change democracy. When concerned with the quest of survival, how long is it before humans turn to political regimes and totalitarian rule? If humans are to survive in space, never to return again, how much will they resemble who we are today? Can we be considered human if we lose our collective humanity? And this is a concept that makes me love this series so much. It's not so much where I or anyone else stands on the question, but rather that the question itself leads to debate depending on your own moral philosophies. The horrors of space as presented in the books is always shifting my perspective. Cixin Liu incorporates the horrors of space in a refreshing way, not just how being in empty space is scary, but how society changes the moment it is accepted you will never go back to Earth. The idea that space is the only thing that awaits you is frankly terrifying. It's not that aliens are monsters, but our decisions are what separates us from becoming truly monstrous. The books are a firm rebuttal to those who deeply romanticize living amongst the stars as some perfect utopia. And regardless where anyone falls on the spectrum, it definitely gives you something to think about. But if the apocalypse comes, is escapism the answer? if one of us survives, don't we all survive? Well, yes, it is the answer. But it's that human society might not be ready to handle any course of action. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for watching. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Discord. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you back next time.